So we are entering into the last week of August, and as we are approaching the New York session, Euro has been pushing towards the downside since morning. So we'll see if we have any opportunities, and we'll also take a look at gold and GBP. So I'll try to keep it short and simple. So on the daily time frame on Euro, you can see that the structure is bearish. We had this bearish break of structure. After that, price came into the EQ of this leg over here. Now if I draw a fib, you can see that we have approached the EQs, and price from here, if this bearish structure wants to follow towards the downside, so this is the area where price needs to reject and let us know we are going to the downside. Either we could go into this daily supply and then get the move towards the downside, or from here itself price can push towards the downside. So now you can see today we have been having a bearish candle. Maybe we could have a pullback into this daily demand, push price to the upside, or this could also be that price is coming to the downside. We even have liquidity over here, maybe it could also target that. So right now we know that there could be a pullback phase and shorts would be more in play over here. So from the daily perspective, this is what I'm thinking. Let's look at the H4. So on the H4, you can see that the swing structure is bullish, the internal structure is bullish, and we are reacting from this supply over here. So there is a supply over here. This is where price is reacting from. So now if we take a closer look, so you can see that price, after sweeping this low, failed to push towards the upside. We swept the high and pushed back down. Now you can see that we have a change of character. So this change of character could indicate that we are in a pullback phase, and we could be expecting a pullback. Either price would come into this daily demand, or even sweep these lows over here and then come into this daily demand, and if it wants to push to the upside, it can go up, or if it wants to follow towards the downside, we can see it going down. So based on the daily structure, we need to go to the downside, but for now let's just focus over here. And since we got the change of character, we have a fresh H4 supply over here. We also have inducement over here. So maybe if price come back into this supply, we could expect price pushing towards the downside. So I am interested to look for a short from this H4 supply, expecting that the pullback is starting and price would go to the downside. So this is what I'm thinking on the H4, and if this H4 supply fails, we can expect that price would go into this daily supply, and then we could see a move towards the downside. So right now I'm focusing on this H4 supply, expecting that price would come there, so I can look for a short. So let's see on the H1. So we're looking at the recent price action on the H1. So you can see we swept these lows, price failed to push to the upside, came back down, and this H4 demand also failed. Now we got a change of character on the H4, and you can see that this H1 demand is also mitigated. So if this is going to be a pullback of price coming into this daily demand over here, so I would like to look for a short from this H1 supply, which also aligns with the H4 supply, expecting that or thinking that price is going to go down. This is going to be a start for the pullback, and I can look for a short position. So on the H1, this is what I'm thinking. You can also see that price is too extended over here, and maybe we could also come to fill in this imbalance. So now let's quickly take a look at GU. So GU, looking at the daily time frame, we have the swing break of structure, price pullback, swept these lows, and now we need a structure towards the upside, something like this. So if you see over here, we swept these major highs over here, and we tend to have reaction when price sweep these kind of major high. So after this internal break of structure, we had this pullback. Same like that, I'm expecting that we had this recent internal break of structure, we could have a pullback of price coming into the EQ. So you can see we have all this liquidity over here. So price could also come sweep all this liquidity and push to the upside. So a long-term move would be price going to the upside. We want to continue this internal structure towards the upside. But for now, since price swept these highs, we had this internal break of structure, maybe we could expect a pullback price into the EQ. So we could expect short-term sells on GU. So let's see on the H4. So looking at the H4 price action, this is the swing structure is bullish, the internal structure is also bullish. So now we have an H4 demand over here. So maybe if price wants to continue to the upside, we are going to have another push. From here itself, price would push to the upside. And if this demand fails and we break below this level, we know the pullback is starting and we can look for shorts. So right now price is much developed on EU, and it's giving us a clear indication that structure has broken bearish. So if GU also wants to follow like EU, we would have a break below the structure and a continuation towards the downside. So if price wants to push to the upside, price could come sweep these low, and then we can expect price towards the upside. So I'm not looking for any position on GU right now. I feel like we could be having a pullback. So let's see on the H1. So looking at the recent price action on the H1, we have a break of structure over here, break of structure over here. Now you can see we swept these lows, price tried to push up but it failed, and it's coming towards the downside. So now if price wants to push towards the upside, this is the last H4 and H1 demand where price needs to hold so that it can go to the upside, and if this fail, we know that we are having a pullback. So now let's take a look at gold. So on gold, if you are looking at the recent price action, so we have this bearish break of structure over here. After that, price pulled back into the EQ, and also we have mitigated this daily supply. So there is also another daily supply, but it is slightly mitigated. So if this daily supply fails, maybe we could get a reaction from this daily supply above. So structure wise, if we see, if price wants to follow this bearish momentum, this is the daily supply that needs to hold so that it can push price towards the downside. But you can see it has been coming with the bullish momentum, so maybe this could be just a short pause and then it will continue pushing to the upside. So right now, since we are in the daily supply, longs would be lower probabilities because we are in a daily supply and we could have a reaction towards the downside. So let's see on the H4. So looking at the recent price action on the H4, price mitigated this daily supply. You can see we have this break of structure over here, and if price wants to have a pullback, need to get a break below this level so that we know that price is pulling to the downside, and we can look for shorts to play short-term pullback into this daily demand over here. Now if price wants to continue to the upside, this daily demand would hold and price would push to the upside. So this daily demand is a good area of value to look for longs. So over here I won't be interested in any longs because we are in a daily supply already and price could react to the downside. It could also continue to push higher, but I like to be cautious over here. Let's see on the H1. So looking at the recent price action on the H1, we had this break of structure over here, another break of structure, and price has been pushing to the upside, you can see. And now we have mitigated this daily supply over here. What I expect is if we get a break below this level, maybe we could say that the pullback is starting, and it would be better probability to look for shorts, continue with the bearish order flow, wait for lower high, lower low formation so that we know the pullback is in and we can continue with the order flow. But if that doesn't happen, price could just keep pushing to the upside from here itself, deeper into this daily supply, and then we could have a reaction. So right now I'm not looking for any position on gold also. What I liked is EU, and EU already has a developed structure indicating that the price is pulling back. So on GBP and gold, I think structure is still developing. So going into today's New York session, this is what I'm thinking. So if you like to see more daily market analysis like this, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.